Are the Dallas Cowboys about to solve the rest of this defense by calling Pittsburgh again? Or is the real answer sitting in Miami, waiting to become the hammer this unit still needs? Haha, Cowboys Nation, that's the debate that has me fired up right now. Because once you look at these three dream trade targets, Patrick Queen, Nick Herbig, and Jordan Brooks, you realize this isn't just a list of random good players. This is really two different strategies for how Dallas could finish the job on defense. One path says double dip with the Steelers and keep building smart. The other says, go get the biggest linebacker impact you can find and let the whole NFL feel it. Yeah, and with the Cowboys already showing their hand this offseason, this conversation feels more real than people think. Because look at what Dallas has already done. The official Cowboys roster shows Rashawn Gary is in the building, Jalen Thompson is in the building, Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams are already on the defensive front, and the official depth chart still tells you linebacker and rotational pass rush are the spots where another addition could completely change the feel of the defense. Dallas didn't enter this offseason trying to lightly touch up the roster. They entered it trying to reshape the defensive identity, and that's why these three names matter. They're not nice if available names, they're this could be the next layer of the rebuild names. So let's start with the Steelers side of this thing, because Patrick Queen and Nick Herbig represent two very different versions of a Pittsburgh call. Patrick Queen is the polished, proven professional answer. The official Steelers player page shows Queen has started all 84 games of his career and has put up 582 tackles, 43 tackles for loss, 14.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 7 fumble recoveries, and 4 interceptions, while also earning Pro Bowl honors twice. That is not a developmental player. That is a linebacker you put in the middle of your defense and say, run it. If Dallas wants to add certainty, experience, and a real full-time tackle producer, Queen is the most straightforward answer of the three. And honestly, Cowboys Nation, there is something comforting about that. No projection, no waiting, no hoping. You already know what he is. And the Pittsburgh angle gets even more interesting because Dallas already has a recent history of doing business there. That matters. Once teams prove they can make a deal work, the next phone call gets easier. The front office already knows the Steelers will listen if the price is right, and from the Cowboys' perspective, Queen would attack one of the biggest remaining needs on the roster. The official Cowboys depth chart still has Kenneth Murray Jr. and DeMarvion Overshown at the top of the linebacker room. And while there is talent there, this is still a room where one proven impact player could raise the entire defense. Put Queen behind Gary, Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and Osa Odigizua, and suddenly this defense looks more stable, more physical, and a whole lot harder to run on. Oh, that's not just one player helping, that's one player making the whole structure stronger. But then there's Nick Herbig, and this is where the Steelers option becomes more fun, because Herbig is not the safe, polished veteran linebacker answer. He is the young pressure answer. He is the I want more juice off the edge answer. The official Steelers page shows Herbig has already played 30 regular season games and piled up 8.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 14 quarterback hits, 6 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries in his first 2 NFL seasons. Oh, that is disruptive football. That is a player whose snap count might not always be huge, but whose impact per opportunity jumps off the page. And for Dallas, that creates a different kind of possibility. Instead of using one more move to patch linebacker, you use it to create waves up front. You already have Gary, you already have interior force. Add Herbig, and now you're talking about a front that can attack in layers, not just survive snap to snap. Now here's where I think Cowboys fans have to be honest with themselves. Herbig is exciting, he really is. He might be the most fun player of the three to imagine in Dallas because he adds that young burst and splash play energy. But is he the biggest remaining need? I'm not sure. If Dallas had not already added Gary, I might answer that differently. But because Gary is now officially on the roster, edge does not feel as urgent as linebacker. That doesn't mean Herbig is a bad idea, far from it. It just means he feels more like a luxury building move, while Queen feels like a structure building move. Aha, and there's a big difference between those two things when you're trying to repair a defense fast. And then we get to Miami, and Cowboys Nation, this is where the whole temperature rises. because Jordan Brooks is not simply another good linebacker. The official Dolphins site announced in January that Brooks earned first-team AP All-Pro honors, not second-team, not honorable mention, first-team AP All-Pro. That is superstar-level recognition for what he did last season, and the official Dolphins roster still has Brooks right there, which means if Dallas ever wanted to make a true statement call at linebacker, this is the type of player you ask about. This is the Miami Hammer. This is the let's stop talking about maybe and go get one of the best at the position option. Yeah. And when you think about Brooks in a Cowboys context, the fit is obvious. Dallas doesn't just need movement on defense, it needs force, tackling, discipline, and speed in the middle. Brooks gives you that in one shot. He is the type of linebacker who changes the personality of the defense because he closes space faster, gets to the ball consistently, and makes everybody around him cleaner. Gary helps the edge, Thompson helps the back end, Brooks would help the soul of the unit. That's the difference. Queen gives you proven quality, Herbig gives you upside and burst. Brooks gives you identity. Aha, and that's why his name hits harder than the others. But of course, with that kind of impact comes a different reality. Cost. Miami has no reason to casually move a first-team All-Pro linebacker unless the return makes sense. That's why Brooks feels like the biggest swing, while Queen feels like the cleanest, and Herbig feels like the most creative. So if I'm Dallas and I'm choosing the path, I probably frame it like this. If I want the safest football value, I call Pittsburgh about Patrick Queen. If I want the most exciting developmental pressure move, I ask about Herbig. But if I want the one call that could most dramatically change the identity of the defense, I call Miami about Jordan Brooks. Aha, that's the split right there. Steelers double dip or Miami hammer. And what I love most about this conversation is what it says about where Dallas is right now. The Cowboys are not acting like a team that thinks it's 5 years away. They are acting like a team that knows the offense can already compete, knows the defense had to be rebuilt, and knows this is the time to push. That's why the Gary and Thompson additions mattered. That's why these three names matter. This front office is building with intent, and if one more move comes, it's not going to be random. It's going to be targeted. It's going to be about making Christian Parker's defense more functional, more physical, and more trustworthy on Sundays. Yeah, and Cowboys Nation, that should excite you. So now I've got to ask you, which path would you take? Would you double dip with Pittsburgh and go get Patrick Queen or Nick Herbig? Or would you swing bigger and call Miami about Jordan Brooks? Drop your choice in the comments right now. Hit that like button and subscribe, because if Dallas adds one more real piece on defense, this whole season is going to start looking very, very different.